Welcome to the Shut Your Mouth Lounge, episode number 230, featuring Pink. Okay, he's got nothing to say. Addy. Oh no, am I dead? Is that what's happening?
No, it's fine.
Well, Addy never says anything. Okay, Pink's muted. Okay, that explains it. So yeah, I'm Alex. So yeah, I think we're all a little drained of energy after many hours of playing the Amogus last night, aren't we?
I've got over it. If the podcast was like 3 hours earlier, then yeah, I would have been out of it still. Again, I went to sleep at 8 a.m.
That's a fun time.
Yeah. Because we stopped playing the game at 7:30.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, either which way.
Oh, hold on. Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
What's up?
Pink's first up on the table, so why is he gotta be the one that's wrestling something? Pink, have you got anything coming out on your channel this week?
Absolutely. I'll be having all the Dead by Daylight coming out on the channel this week. And I'll probably get the Among Us from last night uploaded as well. So I recorded those in hour-long increments, assuming I remember to hit the record button. So those will be quick uploads.
Yes. Addy, do you have anything going up on your channels?
Yes. So this past Friday, the edited version of the Songword Symphony playthrough of mine came out.
Okay.
And next week, I'm gonna be releasing the first half or whatever, the first session. I guess it's not really the half because the first session is 4 hours and the second one is 2. So you know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the first session will be released this week on Friday, and then maybe a review sometime. I don't know. I rewrote the script for that game's review because I didn't like it, and I did already. And speaking of being drained of energy, while I was drained of energy, I just read that script, and surprisingly, if I haven't let's see, 2 hours of sleep or so. No, 4. I woke up at 12. So yeah, if I have 4 hours of sleep, I can speak at a speed that people can actually understand. And yeah, so that may be coming out this week or next week. I don't know.
All right. Is that it?
Yes, streaming is off the table for now because as much as I want to continue The Last of Us, I can't monitor the stream's health while I'm also playing the game on the same monitor. So I'm gonna have to wait. I'm gonna have to wait until I get my second monitor fixed to get back to that.
Fair enough.
And yeah, that's about it.
All right then. On my end, I did record, of course, Among Us with you guys. I guess I'll go ahead and throw that up on my channel. I wasn't sure what we were doing with that. It's going to be very awkward because I did not record several matches, both because my earbud's going out and other reasons. But either which way, got that one coming out on my channel. Other than that, I don't know what series I want to start on soonish. Dead Rising is always comfortable, but I am pretty excited to finally try Disco Elysium. So, guess I'll see what I'm up for this week.
Yeah.
Addy,
nice.
What is going up on the group channel?
Paladins, and that's it.
All right.
You lose, sir. You get nothing. Should have bought light. Should have bought light would illuminate. I don't know why I don't know why those two memes just became one. For me.
I don't even know either of them.
The light would lemonade is became a meme because to compensate the people for the shitty collector's edition of Fallout 76, they gave people enough Fallout coins to buy nothing but Lightwood lemonade.
Oh, right.
So that's how that became a meme.
I
And then
see.
Illuminate.
Oh, yes, Illuminate. Right. That new one. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
All right. So, Pink, what you been up to the past week, man?
Nothing. Like, I saw some scenes from the bad guys the other day, but
Ah,
I didn't actually sit and watch the actual film all the way through.
it's good. It's good. It's
I
not
believe
like
it. Everyone in the family was raving about it, so I believe it's good.
it's not like it won't win Oscars, I don't think. But the animation, the art style
Well,
for
it's not Disney.
but yeah, but it's Shrek. What is it?
DreamWorks?
Yes, I believe so.
Ah.
But yeah, but I was going to make a joke, but I think it may be crossing too many lines, so never mind.
Nah.
So anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, I really like the animation style for that movie, and the story is what you'd expect. Like it's pretty cliche, but it executes it well. So if you can put up with a cliche story, then it may be good to stick around for the animation. Cause it's I guess unique in my eye just because I haven't seen anybody else attempt doing like old hand drawn animation inspired like big movements and shit like that in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then like I don't really watch movies. I want to watch the new Chip and Dale because whatever, but I can't because it's on Disney Plus and Disney Plus is not even in Hungary. I don't think.
Mm. I saw the trailer for that. It looked weird. Makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, it looked bad, but apparently it's like good. Like it's not. It's good in the like it's a meta movie. So like if you can
Right.
enjoy meta shit, then it may be fun. It has fucking like one of the from what I can gather, one of the major characters in that movie is the first trailer Sonic from the Sonic movie.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
I did see like screenshots of that. He has
yeah.
a
They
scene in that
and
movie. I don't know if he's
they
the
made
main
him
character, but yeah.
they made him uglier. They had to remake the model from scratch, and they made him uglier on purpose. They straight up call him Ugly Sonic.
Uh-huh.
And I
Oh, my
saw
God.
yeah, and I saw a great post about it because someone was like, I don't like how he's officially called Ugly Sonic because that implies that there's a sexy Sonic.
Ah.
But yeah, what was I going to add to that? There's also like there's a lot of not Disney characters from what I can tell. Like apparently, fucking Craig's dad is in from South Park.
What?
Yeah,
What?
I don't know. I would like to watch the movie to actually have it form like an opinion of my own to see if that was just like whatever it's there. Like basically, from what I understand, this movie is a spiritual successor to Who Shot or Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I'm mixing it up with Who Shot Johnny Rock, which was like a fucking laser disc game. But yeah, it's supposed to be a spiritual successor to Roger Rabbit.
All right.
So yeah, it seems like an interesting movie. I don't know if I'd call it good. I mean, I haven't seen it, so but still,
Yeah.
I'm hearing good things about it. Although, like it feels like even the critics were in on the joke. Because from what I understand, one of the like actual critics criticisms was just like one of the actors' names pasted 50 times, and then he gave it 5 stars.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's up with that. But I also heard it's a movie where you either love it or hate it, which like meta. That's just meta humor in general, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I expected that to be a Peter Griffin making fun of Family Guy as meta humor.
Ew.
Yeah, I mean that is how like lazy meta humor is. You can't dispute that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway. So Pink, you saw parts of the Vet Guys. What else did you do this week?
Yes, I did. What else did I do? I played Among Us with you guys last night, obviously, and I believe that wraps up my week entirely because I did nothing of note.
All right. Then, Addy, what have you been up to for the past week?
A lot, kind of.
All right.
So let's see. Let's start with video games. Finally, the Scourge that was Metal Gear 5.
Has come back.
Not yet. Campender still owns the copyright. The funny thing there is that he actually doesn't own Scourge. He owns the concept of Evil Sonic or something like that. So they can't use Scourge because he's Evil Sonic, but he doesn't own the actual character of Scourge the Hedgehog. What the fuck is copyright law anymore?
Very confusing, that's what it is.
So yeah, Metal Gear 5 is done. I don't have to play it anymore. I don't have to grind resources. That's the thing. Like playing it, whatever. I don't have to grind resources.
Yeah.
I spent the whole day. I woke up at like 8 a.m. and like I want to say around 6 p.m. is when I finally finished the game, and I've been grinding for a week by then.
Ooh.
Yeah, because just like that's the point. I've done all of the missions aside from the last one, and past the point, it just becomes a thing of like, okay, I'm just gonna boot the game up, just stand in at Mother Base or something, and just wait for the base or base people to make me more resources, because I had a shit ton of backed up resources. I didn't need to actually like farm them. I just needed to wait for it to be processed, and it was painful. So yeah, I saw more than what W would have seen if he finished the game at all, because I have the definitive experience with which comes with more story. So let me okay, so W, you played the last mission. You straight up played the last mission.
No, I did not finish the. I did not come anywhere near finishing the story.
No, you didn't.
I got.
You may not have gotten close to finishing the story, but you played the last mission. Because the last mission of the game is the first mission of the game.
What?
Oh right. Well, they have you go through that whole thing again, so they can show you. Oh, actually, you're not this, you're that.
Not only that,
correct?
Like you replay the whole opening sequence for 3 added lines of dialogue. I counted. Maybe 4 at most.
I think it's pretty obvious Kojima was in love with that segment, so that does make sense.
So yeah, that happened. Oh, okay, no, I'm wrong, because there was also an added sequence, like at the end, where actual Big Boss leaves on a motorcycle. Bless you.
Thank you.
So yeah, that I watched that. I played through the fucking opening mission. Watched the cutscene with Big Boss leaving. I go, okay, so why did Ocelot not know who Big Boss, or why did Ocelot pretend that he, or that the Venom Snake was Big Boss? Oh, he just used hypnosis on himself. Sure. The thing is, they don't even tell you that. I had to go and listen to the audio tapes.
Yes, that's one of the big problems with Metal Gear Solid 5 is that for whatever reason, it had the exact opposite fucking problem of every other Metal Gear game, where every other Metal Gear game, there's hours and hours and hours of cutscene. Metal Gear Solid 5, there's very little cutscene, very little story to go off of directly. You have to sit there and listen to the fucking tape if you want to get the story.
Yeah. And
that's the equivalent of the codex, I'm pretty certain.
Kind of. I mean, they still have the codex, kind of, in that you can call in and then they will give you radio that's useless. Like it's
Yeah,
like I wish
that,
that I wish
that's like
that
only
was
there
more.
for gameplay advice and nothing else.
Yeah, I wish that was more useful for stuff because it's like, the schools are throwing RPG shots at me, and then I call Ocelot, and he's like, I don't know, Snake. They look pretty tough. Gee, thanks.
Yeah,
I couldn't notice.
yeah. There's several times where it's just Kojima's trying to put his own shit over.
But yeah, so that all that goes down, and then I get another cutscene in big quotation marks, very big quotation marks. The final cutscene of the game in the definitive edition is the game's logo and an audio tape.
Oh,
And here's the thing.
That's how every Metal Gear game ends.
I see.
Every Metal Gear game ends with the logo being blazed upon the screen while you hear a plot-heavy conversation.
I see. All right, then that make it, that tempers my opinion, because I was like, I I figured that was the part that Konami cut initially, and then added back into the definitive edition. In which case, like if that was the case, and it wasn't so in the rest of the series, then I would have said that they should have just like made a crudely Photoshop picture of Kojima flipping you off. For the thing. But yeah, the people say, or that we did we talked about the I forget the fucking term for it, but whatever, the comparison to like a car that you can't drive because it's missing a wheel, and people point to the final cutscene of the game as like, oh, they're setting up for shit. I don't know. Like, to me, it just felt like,
I don't.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're setting shit up. I think that was Kojima thinking like, if I throw one last twist in at the end, it'll be genius.
I mean no, I'm not talking about the snake switcheroo, the snakeroo. I'm talking about the final cutscene with the game's logo and shit. That's literally just, hey, Metal Gear 1 will happen. Cool. Like, no, sorry, Metal Gear
Yeah,
Solid 1 will happen. Like, yes,
yeah,
I figured.
yeah. Like if they're saying that Liquid and Mantis are setting shit up, it's like, yeah, they are setting shit up. The first game of the fucking series, because it's a prequel.
Yeah, it's not
That's
like
what they do.
the thing is, the final conversation is Miller and Ocelot just talking to each other, and Ocelot is like, if you'll go back to Cypher, then we'll have to kill each other eventually. And Miller goes, I know, I'm ready for it. And Ocelot goes, we're gonna have to raise both sides to greatness for the boss. And Miller goes, yes, hamburgers. And then
hamburgers.
and then Miller leaves.
And yes, lo and behold, in Metal Gear Solid 1, Ocelot does kill Cass.
But yeah, like legitimately, that final cutscene is just also going, like, also giving a small synopsis of the like the background info for Metal Gear Solid 1.
Yeah.
And
well, the entire conversation can be summarized as Metal Gear Solid 1, Metal Gear Solid 1, Metal Gear Solid 1, Metal Gear Solid 1. You just roll credits.
Yeah. And like, once again, it's a thing of like, I don't know if that's supposed to be the final cutscene that people talk about it them showing off the wheel that's missing from the game. If it is, I don't see it. Like, but I guess the wheel that's missing from the game is Metal Gear Solid 1.
Well, to be fair, there's like, outside of getting a PS1 Classic, there's pretty well no way to play Metal Gear Solid 1 for most people.
That's true. But yeah, like, it was disappointing, but like, not, I don't even know how to properly put it, because it wasn't like it wasn't a big disappointment. I was eventually just let down slowly as the game progressed. Like it wasn't a sudden disappointment. It was just like, oh, I guess we're done. And I spent that whole playthrough trying to find the zoo that's on the mother base. I still don't know where it is. I will never find it.
Yeah.
It is hidden to everyone. It is a secret to everyone. There we go. There's the reference.
I definitely remember finding it, but there's a mother base is so massive and takes so long to explore that it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that and everything also looks the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that my opinion on Metal Gear 5 now is that like it's all right. Like it's not great, it's not bad, it's all right. I can play it. I don't think I will ever fucking play through the entire game again, like off recording, because like I don't want to grind. but
Yeah.
but like it was okay. It wasn't a waste of my time, but it nearly got there with the grinding. So I did that. I also finished Momodora, Reverie Under the Moonlight. That game is like 2 hours long. Turns out.
All right.
So yeah, last week I posed the question of whether that game is just like, here's the Metroidvania inspired by Mega Man with and Metroid a lot. That it is also in ways inspired by Souls. And no, not really. Like it's a fine game, but at the end of the day, like I don't know if it's one of those things where like technically it's been a combination of like four different things, at least three different things, makes it kind of unique. But at the same time, the fact that I can point out exactly the things that it's copying or getting inspiration from, like it's how should I put this? Because there are straight up parts that it's copying from the games that it's taking inspiration from, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so once again, it's like I guess the experience could be considered unique, but I don't know if I'd go that far because usually for me to call something unique, the inspiration needs to be obscure enough that for me to just go, oh yeah, this is part of this game, not see that and go, oh, this is part of that game. But yeah, otherwise it was fine. I got the bad ending because turns out there's like one thing that you can do at the end of the playthrough to decide whether you get the good ending or the bad ending. And that's it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So like I could go back and get the good ending too, but it would take me like 30 minutes, and I don't really feel like going through freaking like the some of the enemies were a bit too annoying to me, and I don't really feel like going backtracking all the way to the spot where I need to do the one magic thing to then go back to the final boss who I'm standing in front of, and then and then kill them just to get the good ending, which, like, from what I understand, may just be the same animation with a different scroll at the end, like a different text scroll at the end. And so it's like I don't really feel like it. It was a fine game. Like if I play it on recording, then I might go for the proper ending because it really is a thing where like um the game tells you what to do, but it also doesn't. So like if you check what you need to do and then you forget about it or whatever, or you never notice that you can speak to like speak to the one building that you need to speak to that tells you what you need to do to get the good ending. Then by the time you realize it, you may be too far gone like I am. Then it actually is on the way to the final boss. So it's completely feasible, just not for where I am with my save.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an alright game. That too, I guess. Like it's
Yeah.
it's fine to waste some time on. It has its good parts. It's just not particularly remarkable, I guess.
Yeah.
You can tell that I fucking got back into trying to script reviews. Can't you? Uh, the best part of writing that script was that for a while I've been trying to write a bit dumber. I don't know how else to put it, but trying to speak like an actual person instead of like a book, and I had to come to terms with no, I just write weird. Like it's not. I wouldn't call it eloquent the way I write because it's too like it's very stupid person pretending to be smart to me, or at least that's what it sounds like. But I can't write in any other way. So I had to concede with that and just go with it, whatever. Or concede to that, whatever. So yeah, anyway, I also finished Spyro 1.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, that game is also 5 hours long. So Spyro seems like a really good series to do a playthrough of. And one of the reasons I got it is because a while back while we were playing Ratchet and Clank, Pink and I said that we might do playthroughs of Spyro and Crash. And
Right.
but like I figured I can play through the games because as much as I think it would be a lot more funny if both of us were blind going into the series. Also, we have 2 series running right now. So what might happen is that I am some part into the second game as well. I may just like not do the third one, and then we'll eventually get onto the third one, and both of us will be fresh. But yeah, like Pink Spyro is so long that the first one at least, the second one I don't know yet. But the first Spyro is so long that we can probably just do one of those one-off sessions like we did with Strider, and that's gonna be a series.
Ah.
So it's really good LP game.
I like
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, I liked Spyro 1. It's not like once again, it's a thing of like it's brought in a different kind of designing collectathons in a way that I actually enjoy them, and that's fucking weird.
All right.
Because once again, like collectathons, if you ask me, collectathons are by large designed to have you explore the map to find the collectibles.
Yeah.
Whereas in Spyro, collectibles are every fucking where, and they lead you to secrets in the level.
Yeah.
So it's a different philosophy, and this one works better for me because it's more. I guess it's more clearly signposted. Uh, there was a lot less of dragons just going, "Hey, thanks, Spyro," and then disappearing than I thought because I used to see a lot of like compilations and shit of people bringing it up against the game, and like maybe I didn't get all of the dragons because you don't need to get all of the dragons. Like that's the that's the one of the best things about the game is that there is a minimum like requirement for you to actually like do the things, but you don't need to do the things. You can choose to do the things, but you don't have to. Just go through the level, get whatever you need to get to continue, and then continue with the story. And then once you're done, if you want to, you can just go back and get the things you didn't get, and the game remembers which stuff you picked up and which stuff you didn't.
Yeah.
Ah.
So I really liked how they have that set up. One thing that I didn't like is the flying levels because I don't like flying controls in most games. And
Understandable.
this one is no real exception. Like part of it is that I just suck at it. Like I just admit, but it's a flying level that's also a time trial, and to get more time, yeah, and to get more time, you need to do stunts, and like I did a couple of them just to see what they were like, and I proceeded to not do any more of them because
Yeah.
I didn't really feel like it. But yes,
Yeah.
then I also started off Spyro 2, And Spyro 2 is immediately, in many ways, improved. Like Spyro 1 was already good. Spyro 2 adds more of a like it is designed differently, so it is in some ways, worse and in some ways better than Spyro 1.
Yeah.
Because Spyro 2 has NPCs on the levels, which weren't a thing in Spyro 1. And they like speak with you and give you missions to do and stuff like that. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird how that does stuff with the how the levels are designed, but it's fun. Like oh yeah, oh shit, I didn't get the picture. Ah, I y'all wouldn't guess who's in Spyro 2.
Gary Oldman.
Better,
I definitely would not have guessed Gary Oldman.
better. Gronk. He put PP in hole. I feel cold.
Oh,
I saw it and I just fucking left. Because like, what are the chances? Like, I don't know that that's a very like basic fucking set of sounds, but still, what are the chances? You know?
Yeah.
And yeah, oh yeah. Speaking of recordings, I guess I will need to post some of my findings in Metal Gear 2 because I had to record it. So Huey came up with with a special cloaking device in my game that I don't think is supposed to exist, and I also found Hal. I think
Nifty.
Okay.
you'll see. I'll post the videos, and you'll see. But yeah,
Well, I'll see.
yeah. So yeah, Spyro 2. One of the big differences between the two games is the Spyro can swim. They fixed the animus, and Spyro can swim now.
Oh, I see.
And you have to like. They also gave a reason for you to collect the gems that are on the levels, because in the first game you just get the gems because it's a collector, you get the gems. Why not?
Yeah.
In the second game, you need to get gems so you can pay off this fucking like big corpo dude who
So I'm
yeah,
pretty sure that in the original version, you're playing the remaster, right?
yes.
Or the remake, right? I'm pretty sure that in the original version, that money guy that is holding Spyro out for a loan, I'm pretty sure is voiced by Gary Oldman.
Ah, I see.
I'm looking it up real quick. He might have only
He's
voiced
called
him in one game.
he's called Money Stacks, I think. If you know the character's name.
Yeah, yeah. Give me just a second. I'm looking it up. Oh no, Gary Oldman voiced the Fire Guardian Ignitus.
Ah,
I'm trying to find his filmography, but I cannot find his filmography. Gary Oldman's filmography.
I mean, are you looking there for the game, or are you trying to give us pointers on who Gary Oldman is?
I wouldn't think I'd have to, but then I just remember that you don't watch movies, so
No, I don't know any of his roles, but I have seen Gary Oldman. So
you've seen Dark Knight, right?
yes.
He was Commissioner Gordon.
Ah, okay, yeah. But yeah, what was I going to say? I fucking forget. Whatever, I guess.
Whenever you see Ignitus, just think of Gary Oldman.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they might have. I don't know how much they changed between the remaster and the original, because I know that the audio was remastered or whatever. Like I don't actually know how they did it exactly. Like there is the original soundtrack, which wasn't remastered properly somehow because it was very like I guess they didn't have the original files, so they had to like take the compressed files that were in the CD and then use that as a
Yeah.
basis or something like that. So it sounds kind of tinny. But yeah, I don't know how much of this game was changed between the remaster and the original, because I did see some animations that I don't think were in the original. Like there's on um the prehistoric level, you have to gather bones for the one of the Neanderthal people to make a skeleton, and it comes to life. It starts flossing, and I've got to assume that in the original it wasn't flossing.
Yeah, that unless it was precognizant, yeah.
So like I don't know how much they changed the game for the new generation and how much of it is still intact. But who knows? Maybe they did use the old freaking voice acting. I actually don't know. I haven't checked. But yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much all for Spyro 2, I think. It seems fun. It's more of the same but with more with slightly different design elements.
All right.
And then I think that may be it for video games. I mean, aside from the stuff that y'all know, like
Yeah.
I streamed The Last of Us. It fucking broke. The stream did, not the game.
Yeah.
I didn't get Ellie to T-pose up the ladder this time. I was very, very disappointed in Ellie.
Sadness.
And yeah, I don't know what else to say really about it. Check it out when I release it like 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Stream.
It's gonna be great.
But yeah. So let's see. As for drawing, last week I said that I'm redesigning my Sona because of reasons, as you remember. And
Yeah.
yeah, I had to consult my mom on exactly like what's possible and what's not, because we're gonna be the ones making it and not someone else. So we need to make it realistic in its scope. So I don't know where to post this. Fucking I don't know, logos, I guess. So yeah, the pants just had to go. They were too bulky.
Oh God, now he's naked.
I mean, not much more naked. Oh boy. All right, take the conversation over because I need to let the cat out. One sec.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I don't really have much to say about the new design, honestly.
Doesn't have pants as opposed to the previous design.
Yeah, that is very true. I guess maybe I should start hitting what I did my week because
Yeah,
Eddie
sure.
seemed Eddie seemed pretty close. Uh, just for right now, just because I think this is something Addie wouldn't particularly comment on, I'm going through and downloading a bunch of things for Fire Pro, and
Nice.
it's very fun seeing it going on and seeing how because the game has been out for several years, the highest rated creator wrestlers are all the really super low quality ones that came out at first when there weren't a lot of tools available.
Uh-huh.
But the game was new, so there were more people playing.
Mm-hmm.
So like the highest rated one is shitty Kurt Angle made out of default creator wrestler parts. And then you'll see like an amazing Kurt Angle made just a couple months ago where they went to the trouble of like putting in all kinds of new textures and move animations, and it has like no points because people nowadays, there's not as many people playing Fire Pro.
Mm-hmm.
So the only people who are left are the ones who are super passionate and the guys who have Patreons to get paid to make creative wrestlers.
Yep.
That is funny how that shit goes.
Definitely interesting.
Either which way, I am enjoying the fruits of it. And
I am back.
boy, I'm
Welcome
going
back.
through. I'm going through, and fuck me, how many like losers does the AEW roster have?
All of them.
All of them, yeah.
Yeah, there's just twice now I've found clown-themed luchadors that are in the Dork Order.
Very the same
Like,
one, at least.
no,
Oh.
one is named Tin, and the other one is named Evil Uno.
Ah, Evil Uno. When did he become a clown?
He
Like,
was
I
always a
don't
clown.
know.
Maybe you're right.
Oh, and fucking Pentagon, I guess, also had a Joker-themed attire. What the fuck?
Yeah, but when the three of them do the fusion dance, then they form Joaquin Phoenix.
I hate this. Credit or credit's due, this guy does seem to be going through and directly trying to make every AEW wrestler and doing it with passion. So I respect that. But, like, there's a lot of these guys that's like, honestly, they didn't deserve this. And so many of them are just WWE sloppy seconds. Matt Seidel is here, and it's like, oh, yes, the guy who was known for doing the Shooting Star Press and nothing else. Well, that's enough of Fire Pro. Hey, did you have anything else you wanted to throw out before you had to let the cat out?
Yes. I don't know how I'll show this off, but maybe? Okay, let's see. Does this break the recording? It shouldn't. I may have figured out a way to show y'all the thing I did like last week or something like that. Because like it's gonna get replaced. So let's see. I like technical difficulties.
They're great.
Yeah. So yeah. Let's try this. Is the recording dying? Not yet. Emphasis on yet. What?
Yeah.
Quite. So, right now the issue is that there's a specific window that I'm trying to capture. It's telling me that there's 4 of them of the same window.
Interesting.
Isn't it? I guess we'll
Just
just
a bit.
I guess we'll just cycle through and then see which one of them is the real one. Shit.
Yeah.
All right. I guess can you see anything on this one? I have to show it through the Discord stream because it's not a picture.
Okay, it's loading, it's loading, it's loading.
Loading.
All right.
Still loading.
Okay.
Oh,
I see a black
Black
screen.
screen.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
do too.
Do you see my trail?
Oh,
That's nice, isn't it?
Well,
You just
okay.
won solitaire.
Yes. All right. Let's see. Do we have any other options? There's also this one. What the fuck is this? What is this?
black and white is what it is.
Ave Satanus, Ave Satanus, Ave Satanus.
Okay. Let's see what other options I have. But I can just turn the OBS to that because it's in OBS. And then I guess the viewers will also see it, but it may be loud for a bit. Do you wanna fucking butter with that?
I have no idea. I don't even know what the desired end goal is here.
It's literally just I made a bumper animation for the streams that y'all probably won't see because I'm working on the replacement. But I wanted to discuss it because it looks nice, and it's not gonna change too much. But like, fuck.
Well, if it looks nice, then you can probably just keep it.
Well, yeah, but it has the old design for Superman. Fuck it, whatever. Like, you know, might as well redraw it. It also wasn't like I wasn't completely satisfied with the proportions. Like the overall the idea is good, I think, but I wasn't completely satisfied with the art part. So I'm making replacement art more or less. I guess
All
with
right, I
the thing,
guess.
I guess with the thing I posted, Pink, the proportions fine because I can't tell anymore.
The previous thing you posted?
Yeah.
Because I assume you haven't posted anything else. Because
No,
I don't see anything else on my
I
head.
haven't posted anything else.
Let me close my stream area and go take another look at it in logos. Yeah, it's in logos. I think you've got the proportions all right.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure because hands are either three sizes too big or three sizes too small. There is never a correct proportion for hands. That's when I was
Right.
drawing them.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, Davia, continue.
What was anything else saying? Oh, well,
Fire
I was
Pro.
just going over some basic Fire Pro stuff just to fill for time. The only other thing I did this week that I figured, oh well, I guess, right? Shit. Okay, so powered through What If and Loki, and I think the entire front half of Hawkeye.
Ah.
So yeah, What If? There are two pretty good episodes, and the rest is mostly filler. It feels like.
That show was boring.
Yeah, they did not do much exciting stuff. The only times they had interesting changes, it seems like they just didn't have enough time for it.
Uh,
And some of the stuff, Captain Carter is literally just Captain America 1,
uh-huh.
which I didn't complain about too much because Captain America 1 is an underrated movie. Most people, for whatever reason, think it's bad when it's not. But
Right.
like other than that, the only one that I'd say was like, oh yeah, that was fucking good was of course Doctor Strange Supreme, which I think everybody agrees.
I actually didn't see that one. I had watched Captain Carter and then the finale, and I saw parts of the one with Killmonger, and I thought that one that was probably like a 20-minute episode. It felt like 2 hours. I was so bored.
Yeah, that one's just a things are happening because like the idea of a universe where like what if Killmonger won because he played his cards differently could be interesting, but instead it's just a compilation of him winning and not really doing anything interesting with it.
Right.
And then it just kind of ends with, oh no, look, Killmonger's in the position to do something bad. Episode ends. It's like, well, fuck, show what he was going to do. And we all know why they weren't going to allow Killmonger to do anything interesting, which is we are not going to have this cartoon talk about black nationalism. Did you notice they fucking skirted around that shit the whole time?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh. Because they can get away with it in a movie, but they can't in a cartoon.
Uh-huh.
The Marvel Zombies episode was the most fillery, undoubtedly. Like, the biggest takeaway from the show was, goddamn, Benedict Cumberbatch and Michael Douglas are both amazing voice actors. Pink, you should probably go back and at least see the bit from the one episode of What If All the Avengers Died. And I'm just spoiling it here because I don't fucking care. It's What If. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
But the gimmick of the episode is, what if Hope had died on an assignment for S.H.I.E.L.D., which means that Hank Pym goes crazy, becomes Yellow Jacket, and it's actually Michael Douglas voicing Hank Pym. And it's Michael Douglas pretty well actually getting to play comic book Hank Pym, which is a shock because he has very much not got to do that yet.
Yeah.
And he just goes around and slaughters all the Avengers.
Ah.
And it ends with a very good voice performance by him that made me go, okay, I never thought I'd say this, but now I want to see comic book Hank Pym in the movies because Michael Douglas does him so well. Like, I can't think of any reason how they could make Hank a prick in the live-action movies, because he seems to have a healthy relationship with Janet. And that's always what makes Hank a bastard in the comics, was his terrible relationship with Janet. So I don't know. Either which way. That and Loki. Okay, so what I said to Soon is, if you ignore the whole Calvinism thing, love it.
Yeah.
The Calvinism thing is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I don't feel as strongly as Ted does, where Ted's stance is Loki ruins the entire MCU retroactively, and so he can't watch any of the movies anymore or something, and they're all stupid going forward and all this and that.
And it's still gonna end in like 2 years, Totally.
Yeah. Yep. And but like Ted, we've said before, like differing stances there, because at the same time, like you're gonna say, well, Vader is ruined, can't watch the original trilogy anymore. The decision to make it where it's like, well, you see, Captain America could only save the world because every variation of the timeline where Captain America isn't a superhero, he deleted it. Kang got it. Okay. Like, I feel like they could have gone about that in a different way that wouldn't make the hero seem so lame. That could have been executed differently. But correct me if I'm wrong, was that show not written by the Rick and Morty dude?
I actually don't have a clue.
I think it was. That's what Soon said the other day. Hang on. Let me go ahead and check. Checking as quickly as possible. If it was written by him, that would make sense, because that is a guy who is going to write stuff that he thinks is funny and weird to write, and multiversal and like mind-bending. Oh my god. Hang on. It's Michael Waldron wrote Multiverse of Madness. He wrote Rick and Morty for only a single episode. Okay, then I don't know what Soon was getting at then. Anyways, yeah, he wrote whoever that was. He wrote Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness and Loki and 13 episodes of Community. How about that? Either which way, yeah, they were trying to get at an idea, but they did not really think about the consequences it could have on the rest of the MCU, or they figured, or they had the Calvinist perspective of, well, it doesn't matter that much if your fate is predetermined. Which, maybe there was a Calvinist who will listen to this podcast someday, in which case, fuck you! No, actually, I don't care. You're welcome to believe in what you believe, and if you do believe in that, then I guess there is reason to believe in that. It's just kind of a depressing mindset for a religion that's supposed to be uplifting.
Yeah.
But anyways, like that's there's always questions about the morality of God, but for Calvinism especially, there's questions about that. Anyways, that's enough religion talk. Yeah, look, if you remove that whole aspect of it kind of demeaning everyone's decisions in the MCU, yeah, it's a really fucking cool series.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. The ending was bad. Well, here,
The ending isn't an ending. It's a cliffhanger.
Yes. The ending needed another 5 minutes. It is legitimately just ends with Loki in the Dragon's Den. And it's like, well, you're not going to see what happens to Loki for another 3 years, assholes. No, it not only does it end with Loki in the Dragon's Den, it ends with all the character relationships except for like one having been erased.
Yep.
What? Like that's the number one fucking pet peeve. Like, okay, so spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home, but Spider-Man No Way Home deliberately had it be a major focus of the last 20 minutes. The character relationships are being erased. Look at this. This is horrible. Loki in the last the last minute of the show is like, oh yeah, all those character relationships you saw get built up over the course of the show, gone. And it's like, oh, that's just a thing that's happened, I guess. Which, on one hand, I can't entirely complain because, I hated Owen Wilson up until I saw this show, but Owen Wilson is actually really enjoyable in Loki.
Yeah.
And the way Loki ends means that Owen Wilson is almost certainly coming back. And in fact, Owen Wilson may be a major part of the rest of Phase 4.
Somehow.
Yeah. I would not have told you that. I figured he was going to be a one-off character for just this show. Either which way, yeah, that whole thing. And of course, again, they also deliberately left ambiguous what was Mobius's life before the TVA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's always at Morbin.
Hawkeye, I've gotten so far is like episode 4, I think. We've not watched the last 2 episodes yet. I thought for certain they'd be introducing Fisk earlier than this.
No.
So they were waiting on that one because they wanted it to be a big twist that the Netflix stuff is canon, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that they finally introduced the hearing aid. I know they never had the time to have him actually have a solid moment in any of the movies to deliberately put his own hearing out, but it does feel a bit lame that it's just like, well, Hawkeye has to have the hearing aid because he's been next to explosions for most of his career, which does make sense, but Hawkeye getting the hearing aid, the reason he got the hearing aid in the comics is such a cool moment, you know?
Yeah.
But either which way, I'm glad that he got it. And okay, I know that Echo is not the most popular character, and I can see why, because they're not really doing anything to make her special. She's just like, look, it's Badassman. Okay. Look, she's intimidating. Is she really? They've kind of been beating her or eluding her at every step of the way. No, but look, though, and she has the most generic, tragic backstory.
Uh-huh.
But I have to concede, introducing Echo in a show where the main character himself is hearing impaired was an interesting idea.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything with it yet, though, which is lame.
Yeah.
Like, there could have been a serious, like, possibility for, like, I don't know how it goes in the last 2 episodes. I'm going to assume that there's not much, because Echo needs to have her own show and her own experiences with Fisk. But I'd have to assume the goal there is to have there be common ground there between her and Clint.
Yeah.
This version of Kate is nothing like the comic book version of Kate, which I find amusing. Comic book Kate is super confident and super assured, and the moment she's introduced, she's already incredibly skilled and good at everything and doesn't make mistakes.
Yep.
There are a lot of people who do not like that. I don't mind it. It's superhero comics. Some characters are just like that. There are certainly some occasions where it gets obnoxious because the character does too much and steals the thunder of other characters. But for characters like Kate, I don't really mind it. Clint, honestly, on so many levels, is also perfect at just about everything a human can do, but Clint is really only held back by the fact that he's an ass.
Yeah.
And the show, in the MCU, Clint's not even an ass. He's a normal man.
Yep.
And that's one thing that is it bugging me about the show, and it's not something the show could have really fixed because it would have required an entire change to his personality. But for it to be a Hawkeye show, and Hawkeye behaves nothing like Hawkeye, that's a recurring problem they've had in the MCU, but that's a Joss Whedon fucking problem.
Yeah.
Which, correct me, was it Joss Whedon or Brian Michael Bendis that has a burning hatred for Hawkeye?
I know for a fact that Bendis is the guy who killed Hawkeye, but it's probably a Whedon.
Probably. And it's like, Hawkeye was already built to be Whedon's guy. Because Hawkeye is the guy who acts like a fucking Whedon character in the comics.
Uh-huh.
He's an asshole who constantly cracks one-liners and doesn't get along with people just because he's an ass.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, Whedon made everyone else act like that.
Mm-hmm.
Either which way, I am enjoying the Hawkeye series. I am. I do find it very, very funny that after the Avengers have ended is when they're introducing Swordsman and Black Knight and several other, like, classic 70s Avengers characters.
Yep.
Nonetheless, I like that they got old Lalo from Better Call Saul as Swordsman. He seems pretty fun so far. Does he keep being fun?
He's probably the most fun character in the show outside of my personal favorite in Yelena.
Oh yeah, they just introduced Yelena, yeah. Well, the funny thing is, of course, that Yelena is not really an exciting character in the comics, but Florence Pugh is just so good, she makes Yelena exciting. Yeah, and I'm happy to see Swordsman every time he pops up because he's just pleasantly fun, which I find interesting because in the comics, Swordsman's an unlikable douchebag, so just very different, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone watched Eternals, but I don't know how Kit Harington is as Black Knight, but that's gonna be fucking weird.
Very. I've not yet watched Eternals. It's been on my to-do list for like a year now.
Yeah, like every time my family goes over, like, okay, here's all the stuff we need to catch up on. Eventually, we hit Eternals, and we all go, You want to know the great thing? Mousing over Eternals reminded my mom that she had seen on the news that Anson Mount is in Multiverse of Madness. It's like, yeah, that's a bit of a mental connection there, huh? Eternals? Inhumans? Ah! The two teams Marvel has been trying to make work for 40 years and failing.
Yep.
Oh, and every time it's because they're both like Eternals and Inhumans both strike me as being written the same way Superman is written badly. Right? They're gods that look above humanity and aren't relatable to us at all because they're gods. Look at how gods they are, gods.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if you want to make a pantheon of gods, knock yourself out. But there has to be a certain degree of mythologizing to them, and you can't focus on them too directly. It can't be too explicit. It has to be a certain degree of vagueness. And with both these cases, they're trying to make Greek-style, alien, flawed, tragic gods. But we see them very directly, and there's very little room for interpretability. And I could get into that deeper, but also a little bit is like, I haven't seen Eternals, but Eternals looks annoying because it's trying to like, look at how flawed and tragic our gods are. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like that when the Greeks did it. I won't like it this time either.
I was fine with it when the Greeks did it, but the Greeks did it in a vague enough way that there's like a lot of room for it, and there's lots of stories rather than just one focus on. Look at how tragic our handsome man is.
I
Anyway.
genuinely did not like it even when the Greeks did it. Like they had some good stories, but then also Zeus.
Well, fuck you. There goes Pink. I was thinking I was thinking to myself, how am I the one taking that hard? That's Pink's jam. Yeah, I don't think anyone cares about the stories about Zeus. Zeus is the one, like, Zeus exists to be the asshole in the background. But, like, for the most part, when people talk about Greek mythology, it's the stories of, like, of course, the Iliad, the Odyssey, or Hercules, or Icarus, or oh boy,
Out of those, I only like Icarus.
Orpheus. Orpheus is another big one. And I'm waiting for Pink to come back because I've got other shit to talk about with that's regarding the MCU. Well, I guess I don't really because I haven't finished Hawkeye yet, so I've got nothing else to particularly say about it. Don't think I've got anything else about the MCU in general to say, really. Well, in that case, I guess I'm good to talk the last thing I did this week, which is Spider-Man PS4. 4 years after buying it, I have beaten Spider-Man PS4.
Ah, nice.
On PS5. Yeah, what have I gotten? In terms of just particular to the remake stuff or remaster stuff, yeah, you could tell the new Peter face is a little stiff. I didn't think it was that bad as everyone else did. There were a lot of people who were downright heartbroken and having rants on Twitter about it. I was kind of like, it's a little stiff, but eh. And you can tell in Miles Morales that they've got better at animating that particular facial rig, so it's going to work out fine in the future anyways. What is the name of the voice actor for Spider-Man in that game? Because that particular voice actor, he always sticks around in my mind, at least partly because he voiced Mr. I Won the Lottery in New Vegas. Mr. Kill him every playthrough in New Vegas.
Yeah.
Mr. Even if you don't kill him, the Rad Scorps will in New Vegas. That's the funniest fucking thing to me. The character, the NPC that everyone kills, but if you don't kill him and you just follow him, he will just get killed by Rad Scorps. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it is fate's will for him to die. If you don't kill him, then Captain America doesn't become Captain America, and then the universe gets reset.
Because it's fated.
Yeah.
Kang said so. Kang the Conqueror. Okay, Yuri Lowenthal voices Spider-Man. So yeah, Yuri Lowenthal and the voice actor for Dr. Octopus, who I'm pretty sure is D. Bradley Baker. Now I've got to look that up. Shit. Yeah, they absolutely kill it in those last few scenes. I think I've said this before, but oh no, it is not D. Bradley Baker that voices Dr. Octavius. It is William Salyers. Wow, I screwed that up. anyways, yes, they kill it in the last few scenes. Boy, Pink is really playing this bit out, isn't he?
Yeah. He may have left because of Dago.
Pink may have actually had something go on, conveniently timed.
Yeah.
But I really like how from the moment Otto is introduced, he's going to be Doc Ock. Everybody fucking knows. And so they just, over the course of the game, more and more, you see Peter helping him build the arms. You are doing a lot of the technical work to make the arms that effective. You see that Otto figures out that he's related to Spider-Man. You see Otto is like looking over the schematics for the raft. And you know Peter doesn't know. So it's brutal, you know?
Yeah.
That was really good. And the moment it finally happens is so good. I like that they bring in the Sinister Six, and they each get a boss fight. I do think it's a bit sad that each of the villains pretty well only gets one scene. But at the same time, I know, for one thing, there's only so much time in the game. And for another thing, I know that several of the villains that are on the Sinister Six are not the deepest characters.
Now we need more screen time for Mr. Negative.
Yeah, that was it. Mr. Negative is one of the biggest issues with the game. His powers are never really explained. It seems like he should be able to fuck up the city worse than he did, just off of he can mind control people.
Yeah.
They don't really explain what's up with his family other than what you get to see near the end there. And his character is really flat. It's just, I like helping people, but also Norman! And that's it. It's kind of just two-dimensional, right?
Yeah.
You got a character with a motive and a flaw, and that's it. That's like the textbook definition of a two-dimensional character. And don't get me wrong, not every character needs to be three-dimensional. But if you can get a three-dimensional character, you should. And if you're going to have a character who's the villain for 2/3 of the game, he should be three-dimensional.
Yeah.
But that's one of those cases also where it's kind of out of the developer's hands because there's only a certain degree of freedom they're allowed with this stuff and adaptations. And I imagine they're probably having to work with the writers and editors at Marvel Comics, who are right now pretty notoriously incompetent. And so Miles Morales has had a problem for the last decade in the comics of nobody knows what to do with him as a character. Nobody knows what character traits to give him, what real flaws or motives to give him. So he's just left as Vanilla Man.
Yeah, he's just Peter, but black. That's what
not even that.
People want. Not anymore.
He's not even that because Peter has more character than Miles does.
Wow.
Miles is just teenager.
Wow.
Like the games in Spider-Verse have done so much more to give Miles character than the comics did, and even then, Miles is usually still just played up as generic teenager. But anyways, I do think that's probably a big part of the issue with Mr. Negative is the video game developers may have wanted to give Negative personality, but he probably doesn't have personality in the comics. And if they did try to give him personality, the comic book editors and writers might have thrown a hissy fit and say, hey, we want to give Negative a personality at some point. We're deliberately leaving that door open for a later writer. Please do not give Negative any personality because that might influence the viewers on a character we have not fully fleshed out yet, and we don't intend to flesh out just yet. But please do not flesh him out on our behalf because we don't want you to flesh him out in a way that we don't want to do ourselves later on. Hi, Pink. We're talking about Mr. Negative and the Spider-Man PS4.
He makes the worst reviews.
He does.
Yeah, it's would you agree with that, Pink, that it's probably Mr. Negative is probably so bland in Spider-Man PS4 because the Marvel Comics editors and writers want him to stay bland until they flesh him out themselves?
I don't know that they would have had much input on the editing side. It's a good question, though.
It does seem like there are stories about the Marvel Comics editors and writers throwing their weight around a bit, though, isn't there?
A lot of that does happen, but I don't know that it would transcend their personal comic industry and bleed out into the other projects they've got going on with Sony and their PlayStation games or any other game for that matter. But it's possible. It's possible.
It is. It's just like very odd that Insomniac. There we go. Insomniac did such a good job of making Doc Ock a fully three-dimensional character, and Doc Ock's only the villain for the final third of the game. Mr. Negative is the villain for the first two-thirds, and he is entirely just a two-dimensional character.
Right.
Like, I just find that really odd. It's not like Insomniac are having competent writers.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's just I wonder if it's a bit of the comic book guys interfering.
It could be. It could definitely be that.
Either which way, yeah. That entire final act of the game is great. I love, like, the free roam integration of shit is fucked. Shit could not be more fucked in that final third. Because, like, Addy, you've played that game. Shit gets rough for New York in that last third of the game.
Yeah, New York is fast forwarded a couple of years in that game.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yes, exactly. When that was going, in the opening stages of the third act, I was thinking, oh my god, this game predicted the future. What the fuck? Because what are the problems going on in the third act of the game? Mass pandemic that spreads via breath, and people need to wear masks to not pass it around. Riots on the streets, police brutality. That's the three problems of the final act.
Those are the three plot points of 2020.
Yeah, and I was thinking this whole time, please, oh mother of God, tell me this game did not also predict supervillains. Tell me we are not on the news tomorrow going to be seeing fucking Doc Ock has kidnapped Joe Biden or Donald Trump or something. Oh, fuck me. Yeah. I thought they did a fun enough job with a lot of the gameplay segments near the end. I do really like that it descends so badly into anarchy that for the first two-thirds of the game, it's a normal Spider-Man game. You can swing through the streets and see the civilians and so on. And the last third of the game, it's like, no, all the civilians are hiding in their houses. The only people on the streets now are killers.
Yeah. Yeah, the third act of the game is a remake of Spider-Man on the PS1.
The third act is a better version of Arkham Knight.
Yes.
Arkham Knight's bullshit of like, well, I guess the entire city of Gotham just got up and left. So now only the criminals are left. Like, what? Okay, sure. Fuck off, Rocksteady. Like, I know it's hard to come up with a scenario where you play a superhero who is a good person and does not harm innocents in a free roam game where the player has lots of possibilities. And I have to say, one of the best things they did in Spider-Man PS4 is if you try to punch a civilian, Spider-Man instead greets them. That's fantastic. I think I think perhaps they made it a little too not generous. There have been too many times I wanted to go up and like high five a civilian, and instead I kicked in their general direction. But it's that Spider-Man special greeting, the roundhouse kick.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he does to Mary Jane. So
yeah. Oh, I hope, I don't want it to be Peter, but I hope someone roundhouse kicks this Mary Jane. This Mary Jane is the worst. PS4 Mary Jane is the fucking worst. They thought they were turning the tables there of having it. Oh, Mary Jane's not mad at Spider-Man for being Spider-Man. Mary Jane's mad at Spider-Man because she wants to be Spider-Man. I guess
she wants to be Robin.
So it's like they honestly combined the worst version of Mary Jane, that is to say, the Sam Raimi version of Mary Jane. They combined her with Lois Lane, and that's it.
Yeah,
it's a terrible combo.
Yeah, it's the fucking worst. And like, at least they have her wise up near the end, and hopefully that means she won't be doing that for the rest of the series, but she probably will, because that's how they write Mary Jane in every single adaptation of Spider-Man, is she breaks up with Spider-Man in every fucking game. And it is crazy how Sam Raimi has successfully controlled the Mary Jane narrative, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
in order for them,
what it is.
In order for them to get a proper Mary Jane adaptation in the movies, they had to change her fucking name. She's still MJ, make no mistake about it. And they even finally threw in Watson in No Way Home, which, man, I thought that was a really nice touch. They say Watson, but she says, I don't want to, don't call me that. Right?
Yeah.
Because what? Because her dad's an abusive piece of shit. That was a nice touch. But yeah, like, they had to change her to, Michelle Jones in order for us to finally get a proper MJ. And even then, it's still a little bit different because, like, there's a chance they might turn her into a supermodel now that they're going to college, but they still had to change her to being, like, just as much of a dork as Peter and Ned. Like, Mary Jane's an awkward character, where in the comics she's executed beautifully, but the trouble is when you look at her in isolation and when you read a Wikipedia summary of her character, she's the kind of character that everyone is going to have at least one problem with.
Yeah, sure.
Because some writers are going to read that she is a supermodel who is supportive and all this and that. And like, the majority of people are going to in some ways say this character is too perfect. This character is too good for Peter in otherwise a series of stories where Peter mostly gets shit on. So we need to make her worse in some way. And that's why Sam Raimi made her mostly accurate, except that she's a gigantic asshole who will leave Peter at the drop of a needle. And that's why the MCU mostly kept her accurate, except they made her a nerd instead of a supermodel. And Spider-Man PS4 makes her, like, not really accurate at all. She is a redhead. They at least got that accurate, I guess.
They remember that part.
But she's not a supermodel. Now she's a journalist. And she's also still an asshole. At least the reason she's an asshole isn't the Raimi version of, well, just stop saving people and be with me all the time. I'm more important than the thousands of people you save every year, Peter. Which is an improvement, but it's still very annoying that every scene Mary Jane is in Spider-Man PS4 consists of Mary Jane does something incredibly stupid, gets herself into a situation where she is going to die, Peter saves her, Mary Jane goes, why did you save me, Peter? I could have handled that. Every fucking time she shows up. Don't worry, I was going to karate chop the supervillain. It was going to work. Yeah, trust me, bro.
Tombstone ain't shit. I have a camera.
Yeah. The moment she gets a taser in the late game, my mind went, oh no, now she has power.
Nintendo power.
This is too much.
Like, I'm just imagining. Okay, did you guys play Web of Shadows?
No.
I did not know.
So the second to last boss fight in that game is against a venomized black cat. And Mary Jane has been sick of Black Cat getting after her man the whole game. So while you're up there fighting Black Cat, Mary Jane goes up there with a shotgun. And it becomes like this weird, awkward fight where, like, Black Cat kind of, like, obviously Peter doesn't want to beat up Mary Jane, but it becomes this fight where you're both fighting Black Cat, but not really together.
Mary Jane loaded the shotgun with dubstep. It's fine.
Yeah.
She can handle it.
The funny thing is, it winds up working mostly because up until then, I think there is a scene of, like, you see several symbiote zombies, I guess, running up to her while she's got the shotgun, and she just keeps blowing them away, and she doesn't give a shit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like, I think earlier in the game, Peter tells Luke Cage, hey, could you please take care of MJ for me? And Luke Cage is like, I'm not sure I need to. Either which way. Boy, you want to talk about
just scared of Mary Jane confirmed.
Come to think of it, that's actually remarkably similar to Spider-Man PS4, because Spider-Man Web of Shadows is another free roam Spider-Man game where the final third of the game is just, New York gets fucked. At least in Spider-Man PS4, there's not goo everywhere, though.
Yeah.
Venom just can't help but relieve himself. When you gotta go, you gotta go.
It must be done.
Yeah. Either which way, with Spider-Man PS4, yes, I am very excited for Spider-Man 2 now, having beat both Spider-Man PS4 and Spider-Man Miles Morales. I do want to say for that post-credits sequence, boy, both of them are super building up Venom.
Yeah.
But I do really like that final post-credits sequence. As Norman is looking in the tube is shining a green light on Norman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when you go and investigate Norman's personal lab, it's mostly building up Venom, and a little bit it's building up Miles Morales, oddly enough. But then you see a couple grenades that are oddly, similar to pumpkin bombs. That's weird. And Norman has...
We're getting the new Goblin.
Yeah, that's what we're going to get. That's what... Harry's going to be Veno Goblin.
Yes. Yeah, he needs to become the Venom Goblin to fight his evil arch nemesis, the Hemo Goblin.
That's about all I've got to say about Spider-Man PS4, really, that I can think of. I did not watch wrestling this week because, honestly, we're just busy with a bunch of fucking things. Obviously, couldn't watch SmackDown last night because we were playing Among Us. I did not watch Raw, even though I got the first opportunity to, because there's the news about Sasha Banks and Naomi, and I was kind of like, I don't know that I want to watch that. I don't know that I want to watch an awkward slapdash Raw where they try to make up for two of the wrestlers leaving immediately, and also like half the show is Corey Graves trying to bury them for some reason.
Well, Sasha Banks always deserves to be buried, so he's got my seal of approval.
Well, we know it wasn't Corey trying to do it. We know who.
We know.
That's one of those situations we were just talking about last night. You can shit on Vince, and Vince will love you to have you back. You take Vince's money, you're dead to Vince forever. So.
Oh yeah.
Neither of those girls are probably ever working in WWE again.
You never know. I think
that is true.
Yeah,
Vince isn't going to live too long.
Yeah.
We never know.
WWE might not exist by the time they want to come back.
Right.
Boy, that is just... Yeah, that is... It's been setting in a little bit, like, looking at all what's going on backstage with some of this stuff. And I'm not saying, like, Sasha Banks or Naomi leaving means it's the end of the world, because I'm not being ridiculous here. Transparently, I know that it's a case of Sasha Banks is known to have a little bit of an ego, and Naomi is just following her friend. And Sasha will probably go to AEW like everybody else who's walked out of WWE in the last 6 months. Is this not four wrestlers in 6 Is this not like a record for wrestlers leaving, just fucking walking out mid-contract in WWE in the last 6 months?
Probably in the last ever, honestly.
Because, like, no, I don't mean just like for the last 6 months, Jeff Hardy walked out of his contract, Tony Storm walked out of her contract, now Sasha Banks and Naomi have walked out of theirs.
Uh-huh.
For a 6 month period, this has got to be like a record, right?
I mean,
Absolutely.
didn't Hardy get shafted because he needed to go to rehab?
They told him to go to rehab. He said, "Get fucked."
Yeah.
I
So,
see.
Yeah.
that was still a walkout, but he probably wasn't walking out because he wasn't happy with his booking. Whereas Tony and Sasha both walked out because they weren't happy with their booking.
Yeah.
And Naomi, we don't know. She's not known to have as much of an ego as Sasha. She could have just walked out in solidarity. She could have walked out because she didn't like her booking. Either which way.
Yeah.
How many? Okay, so assuming that AEW immediately snatches up Sasha and Naomi and gives them both $1 million contracts, which they probably will, or at least Sasha, how many instances will this be of married couples where one of the spouses in WWE and the other spouse is in AEW?
Actually, yeah. That is an intriguing question.
Yeah, because the Uso is still in WWE.
Uh-huh.
That Naomi's married to. Charlotte's in WWE while Andrade is in AEW.
Uh-huh.
Is not Naomi's husband no, that or is not Sasha. Yeah, Sasha Banks. There we go.
Sasha's husband works with WWE in some capacity.
Yeah,
He's a big ass nerd.
like that's just weird. That's just I don't know what's going on there. There's just some weird shit going on with WWE backstage. Well, of course, Steph leaving. That's the one that's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What?
Steph left. Stephanie left.
McMahon Stephanie?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Why? How? When?
Well, she said it. She said it was for family reasons.
Oh, so probably because Trips is on the back burner. They're trying to raise their family then.
But I think recently Triple H was confirmed to be back, or at least in the process of coming back. So it's more like they're just swapping out.
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
Yeah, that could mean either they want to focus more on the kids, which is understandable. They've both been very busy since those kids were born. Could mean Hunter's condition is worse than we think, but Hunter's supposedly back in the office. Or it could mean that the purge of everyone related to Triple H and the company is still continuing.
Yeah. So you think Vince fired his own daughter? Because I'd believe it.
I don't think Vince fired his own daughter. I don't think Vince is in control of his own fucking company anymore.
Yeah, that may be true. I didn't think about that, but yeah, that may be true. Vince may be too dilapidated to know what's going on anymore.
Well, there keeps being stories lately of people telling Vince things and just Vince forgets entirely.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he may have like dementia.
Right.
That kind of sucks.
If anyone ever got dementia and wouldn't admit it, it'd be Vince.
Yeah, 100%. And that's really sad because recently I read up on Terry Funk, and apparently he shoot retired like for real this time because he literally can't come back anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, Terry wanted to die in the ring, but he can't because he's got dementia. Any booker that would take Terry for a match now should be in prison.
Yeah.
Because that is actual elder abuse.
Yeah.
Ric Flair probably wants to die in the ring. Flair is going to get dementia before he can die in the ring.
Yeah.
A lot of these old heads do not realize that. Wrestling is dangerous, but it's not that dangerous. Because look, how many people have actually died in the ring? From actual wrestling. Mizawa, the guy that Ray kicked in the face. Who else?
I can't think of anybody else.
Well, not from like actual wrestling. No. And like even if we discount it, like the
Because
only
I'm not
people that
counting
really,
Owen.
yeah, like the only people that really come to mind are Owen and Eddie.
Eddie didn't die in the ring.
Oh right, he just had a seizure and then died
Eddie,
in the thing, doesn't he?
Eddie was face down in a hotel bathroom. So,
Yep,
Shavo
yep.
found him.
Yep.
Okay.
Like, I can't think of anyone else who died in the ring. There are several times that New Jack should have, or someone who was in the ring with New Jack should have. And I'm not even saying that as a moral judgment. I'm saying, like, that time New Jack fell off the scaffold and cracked his skull, he should have died. But he didn't because he's fucking New Jack.
Yeah, he didn't care about that shit.
Death
No
waited
sold
until
it.
New Jack got sober to kill him.
Yeah. And that's waited for New Jack to actually try to not be an asshole for once.
Yeah. That's how it fucking always goes, man. It's always when they clean up that they die. Anyways, like, anyone who is thinking, I want to die in the ring, you fucking can't. Like, Mizawa already had, like, a bad neck condition. Like, he already had a bad spinal injury before he had that suplex done to him. And what was the thing with the guy that Ray kicked in the face?
He fell on the ropes bad, and the whiplash from the bump killed him. Not Ray's actual kick.
It was him hitting the ropes. It was a whiplash that kind of just snapped his neck.
Boy, I heard Mexican rings were fucking stiff, but Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just, you know, there's a reason why The Wrestler is such a good and disturbingly accurate movie.
Yeah.
The Wrestler sucked. What are you talking about?
No, it was pretty good.
I didn't like it.
Okay. I would have told you wouldn't like it, but it was good. There were no superheroes in that movie, Pink. Did anyone tell you there were superheroes in the movie? Because they lied.
I mean,
that's a lie. That's a bald-faced lie. R-Truth is featured in that film.
That's true, and so is Claudio Castagnoli. And I think also Drew Gulak?
Is he really? I don't know.
I read that. I didn't even know Drew Gulak would have been wrestling at the time. I'd have figured he'd be a teenager, which he probably was, knowing the indies.
Probably, yeah. I don't know. Maybe he's older than I think he is, but I feel like back in 2008, 7, whenever that movie came out, somewhere around that time period. I don't know if he was wrestling at that point. Maybe just starting out. I don't know.
Yeah, I could have swore I read that. I'm gonna look that up. The Wrestler movie, Drew Gulak. That's what I'm gonna look up. Because he may have just been in the background. Because if memory serves, like, the only actual wrestlers who got any dialogue at all were Truth and Necro Butcher, right?
Right.
Necro Butcher got a bizarre amount of focus in that movie.
Yeah, it's like more than his career deserves, really.
Yeah. If there was anyone who deserved not to get highlighted in that movie, it's him. Well, no, you know what? Actually, that movie's about the bad parts of wrestling. So actually, Necro Butcher should have been the star.
You raise a valid point there.
Yeah. Either which way, what were we going to talk about? I guess we weren't really talking about anything. We're just talking about
whatever
what's going on with WWE. I mean, like, who is, like, there's not as much scuttlebutt about corporate because that's a tighter ship. But who do we even know that makes big decisions up there other than Vince? Because, I mean, there's Nick Khan and there's Kevin Dunn, but I can't imagine. I don't know. None of us know. That's the thing, I guess.
Yeah.
We're not We're not going to know until the book gets written.
Yeah.
That's just like, I do have to wonder, like, Vince will never acknowledge that he's old, so it's partly that. But like, why did Vince not ever go with the idea of passing it on to Hunter or Steph? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
If he wants to sell, why hasn't he already done it? I guess.
they weren't ready.
They're not worthy.
To be fair, Vince and Hunter have very different ideas of what constitutes a good wrestling show, so it might
That
kind
is
of be
true.
that with Hunter.
That is
True.
true.
And Steph is Hunter's wife.
And we've also seen what she does with wrestling, so you know.
Yeah. And evidently it wasn't going to be fucking Shane in it either which way the dice rolled.
Yeah.
Shane's been out of the equation for quite some time, honestly.
Yeah. Like, is he just... okay, I have to wonder if there's either two things going on. Either Vince wants to keep boosting up the stock price so he can sell the company for a ludicrously high price before it inevitably crashes. Or, because, I mean, at some point, like, viewership numbers can only keep going down for so long while profits still keep going up, right? Because
Yeah.
sponsors have to wise up to the fact they're not getting their return out of this. If there's not actually that many people watching, right?
Yeah.
And the same for the networks, right? Because
Uh-huh.
Peacock's bleeding money mad, isn't it?
I don't know what the Peacock situation is, honestly. I know WWE themselves are making a lot off of it, but I don't know how much Peacock itself is profiting from it.
Like, I don't know. Maybe they just figured out the magic formula how to make money doing nothing.
Right.
Like, I honestly kind of wonder that if at this point WWE shouldn't just shut down all of their non-Saudi Arabian shows. Because it doesn't seem they're making any money off those. Like, the money they're getting now is almost certainly off of merchandising deals in the network and Saudi Arabia and probably all this shit, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, where else are you supposed to go? AEW? Fuck no.
Chikara.
Yeah, there you go. Is Chikara even still going?
I hope
Chikara
not.
went under years ago.
Okay, good.
Like, that shit I'm sure is still allowed in Japan because Japan has that kind of sense of humor.
Oh no, Chikara
But
didn't. Chikara didn't shut down because people didn't like it. Chikara shut down because the owner was like an asshole.
Oh, right. He was a big old rapist, wasn't he?
I don't remember what he did, but yeah, something like that.
Uh-huh.
Well, it was going to shut down eventually anyways, unless they just wanted to run garbage mud shows in high schools, which they probably would have. Yeah, I guess we could call this a podcast. That's not a very triumphant ending.
I do have a couple of pictures I saved if y'all want to end on that. I guess.
Sure.
All right, give me a bit to open it up because my PC is my PC. You know, it be how it be. Oh, I guess in the meantime, I don't know. I spent the whole podcast line shading, even though I suck at it. But you know, eventually I have to learn how to do it. If I bash my schooling hard enough, then it will work. I swear.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Why is this not responding? There we go. All right, any year now. So let's see. Oh yeah, I wanted to bring this up during the drawing segment, but this is not a funny picture, I guess. But I wanted to share this art because it's very well done, and like sometimes you look at other people's art and you go, oh, I know, I have an idea how they might have gotten there, and then you can take like pointers, and sometimes you look at other people's art and you go, what the fuck do you mean they did that? And it's just you don't get it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I found a person like that who consistently makes art of this quality, and like shit, I can't even begin to comprehend how you make art like this. Like it's not the subject, but the fucking the definition on the fur.
Right.
How?
Lots of practice with the paintbrush.
Like I don't even know how the fuck you're supposed to even start getting to this point. So yeah, that's that. Yeah, I couldn't get it. But for the funny pictures, I really like this. Because yeah, some of you might have seen that one already, I think.
Oh, I see. Well, that just happens every other day.
Yeah. I also just like I really like the idea of Kamiya actually just like coming across this post, and like I don't know why, but like especially Kamiya coming across this post and seeing Eminem's Bayonetta is just really funny.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Ah yeah, this one. So uh someone is I'll give the context later. You can read this and then I'll give the context. This is JoJo for the record.
Okay, that sounds like what I've heard JoJo to be.
Yeah. So
I don't think I even want the context.
all right, then I will give you the context. But basically, the context thing is that there's this. This is like medieval Britain, and there's this vampire guy, and it sets the place on fire and then starts rapping.
I see.
That's not that context still doesn't really explain it.
Yeah, I gave enough just enough context for you to see what was lead to someone just pointing the thing that I just said out.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then that may be it. Let's see. I remember I found like this weird. I found this weird thing, and I did want to see. Oh yeah, here it is. I wanted to share this because it's really fucking weird. So yeah,
That's actually kind of disturbing. I don't know how to feel about that.
I don't know. Like it's one of those things where I would buy it just so people get weird that I'd buy it, and then I'd wake up at like 3 a.m. and look at it, and then have a heart attack. But yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, we can call
All
this a
right.
podcast, I guess. Bye.
Bye.